Hey, what's up, guys? Austin back here in our video. Got a special guest, my fishing partner Ethan Hayes, and we thought it'd be a good idea because our arsenals is the same, but we use different brands and we use different style rods for different applications. Like my jig rod's different than his, for instance. So
Yeah.
who's gonna kick it off? He has a rod and reel here. He's gonna give a talk
Alrighty.
about.
Well, Austin's talking about jig rods, so we'll start off with that. And most of my reels I got, about half of them's gonna be Lou's Tournament MBs. You can't buy them no more. Stinks. That's my favorite reel. This is a Cashin 7.3 medium heavy. I like it for jig fishing because pretty stiff rod, sensitive as crap.
Alright, and as y'all know, my jig rod, my Texas rig rod, me and him actually has the same rod, same length, same action, same everything in this rod. You hear me talk a lot about it. It's a Dixie Custom. It's 7'7" heavy, and it's made from a casting rod blank. And it's just very, very sensitive. I know when I'm hitting the bottom. I know every rock, brush that I'm coming across, and it is very sensitive, and it's just a solid rod.
More sensitive.
Yeah, sure.
Alright, next rod I'm gonna talk about is this Lou's rod. It's a custom speed stick light, and I got the Lou's spinning reel. I don't know which one it is. This is just basic finesse applications, all drop shot, Ned rig, all that kind of good crap. I like it because I like a medium light, good medium light, sensitive, has good parabolic bend, I guess is what you call it.
Alright, mine's more of a budget type deal. This here is a very, very good application for your Ned rig for a floating worm. Although I do like a longer rod for a floating worm, this one here just feels good in the hand. It's a Daiwa Arid X. Y'all hear me talk about it in my videos. It's a 7 foot medium fast, but performs like a medium light. And this here also Ned rigs. I can drop shot with it. I can do a lot of things similar to Ethan. And this here's just my basic go-to spinning setup. So
Okay, I'm going to talk about this. This is my most versatile rod in my opinion. This is a 7 foot medium, fast action. Got a 7 1 to 1 uh, custom light, everything. Rod, reel, 12 pound, usually on it. This reel and rod is good for soft plastics, crankbaits, spinnerbaits, chatterbaits, anything you want to throw on it. I think it's more versatile than a medium heavy because you can still get away throwing stuff like jigs. They have to be light, but you can get away doing it. And you can also end up throwing some crankbaits and stuff like that because it has enough tip to do so.
alright, he was talking about his most versatile rod and what he can do with it. And I actually have two that I feel is very, very versatile. I don't really say it much in my videos because I have a whole big bunch of rods. Most of them's technique specific, but these two is for sure, hands down, the most versatile. Number one is going to be my Castaway Tyrannus. It's in a 7 foot medium heavy, and this here is my swim bait rod. But as you can tell, it does have a lot of a parabolic bend to it, and I have it paired with my Shimano Chronarch in a 8:1 ratio. I can crank with it, I can swim bait fish with it, I can do like he was talking about, throw a light jig on it, on shaky head with it, and it's just a lot that I can do with it. And then my second versatile rod is going to be my Quantum PT tour rod, and this here's in a 7 foot medium heavy, and it actually performs like a medium heavy. And today I put it to a test. I actually threw an Alabama rig on there just to see if I could cast it, and it cast it good. I have it paired with my Daiwa Tatula SV and an 8:1 ratio. Usually I do run heavier line on here because this is my backup jig rod, but it's also a very, very versatile rod.
Alrighty. This is my second most versatile rod. This is a 7'2" Shimano X-Age. Can't buy that rod anymore. It's a medium heavy. This I get away throwing stuff like a jig whenever I want to mix up my jig rods. But most times there's going to be a top water on this, a heavier spinner bait, or usually Texas rigs too. Because I can get away throwing Texas rigs on my jig rod, but it's a little bit too stiff because I like to use light wire hooks. So I get away with this because it's not quite as stiff, has a little bit more tip. And I got a 6:4 to 1 gear ratio reel on that. I didn't even know that. I thought it was a 7.
Wow. So as y'all can tell, he actually has he prefers lower gear ratio reels. That's where we differ.
There's a good reason.
And he does like heavier action rods, more stiff, and I like what he calls a pixie stick. But this right here is you hear me talk about a budget rod, and this is where I start breaking down into my budget rods, and then I reckon I have one or two more that I can talk about. But it's a Denali rocker, 7-foot medium action. This here is actually my cranking rod. I can throw a spinner bait on it like I have here. I can throw a chatter bait, a swim bait. I can get away with a buzz bait and a top water. I have it paired with a Daiwa Tatula 100 HS. It's in a 8:1. No, this is a XS. It's in a 8:1 ratio. And this here, if you're a high school angler like me and Ethan was, this here is basically that price point where you're getting good and durability. I mean, under $200, it's hard to beat.
Alright, I'm going to go a little bit opposite of the budget route. This, Austin has the exact same combo. He uses it for jigs, I use it for flipping. This is the Dixie Custom Meat Stick, and it's got a Daiwa Tatula CT. They quit making my Lewis MBs, so Austin turned me on to the Tatulas, and in all honesty, it is probably a better reel, but I like my MBs because they don't break at all. I've had them for 3 or 4 years, never had a problem with them. And this could probably also be used for A-rigs. That's why I got it, actually. He was telling me about that. But he got me onto that flipping, and I can't get enough of it, so that's all I've used it for so far. Go for it.
Alright, if you can't quite make it to that $200 mark, this here is something for a little bit less. Again, it's that Denali rocker rod. This here is actually a 6'6". I actually bought it for my jerk baits where it's a shorter rod. I can jerk it downward and I ain't got to worry about hitting the boat. But it's actually doubling as a good topwater rod right now. As you can see, I have a white Ray Lewis buzzbait on here, and I have a Daiwa Tatula CT 100 HS. And this combo retails at about $189. So if you ain't got the extra change to make it to that 200, this here is gonna make you a good little budget rod now.
So this would be, if I could pick one budget rod, this would be it. It's on what I would consider is a good minimum for a pretty quality rod. I get he likes that Denali rocker, which I'm sure is a good rod. I've never used it. This is a Falcon Buckoo. $100 rod. I've never had a problem with them. I've had 2 of them. Honestly, some of my favorite rods I've ever used. Has a pretty good tip on them. I'm using it for a swim bait. This is 7.4 heavy. That sounds pretty stiff, but like I said, these actions are just a tad bit slower than what they're advertised, so it's more like a medium heavy, and I kind of like throwing a little bit bigger swim bait than Austin, so that's why I use a pretty stiff rod, because I like Jack and Diggins and you don't.
Yeah, that's what happened today. He put it on me. But this here's going to be a last rod and reel. It's getting dark. The lighting ain't too good.
I got one more.
Well, Ethan has one more. I may do one more after this one, but the lighting's getting bad, so I'm going to hurry through this. He has a higher end spinning rod and reel. I have one over there that I'm going to go over in a second, but this here is the best budget spinning setup I've found. It is a Berkley lightning rod and 7-foot medium heavy. Man, this rod goes way back. I've had it since I was since I was like 9 years old. So this rod's 10-year-old and still going strong. It has some scratches, some bumps and bruises, but that's going to happen. And this Lew's reel that's on here, you actually can't get no more. This is a Lew's Speed Spin 300. And I just love it. I can throw a Rico, I can throw a shaky head, I can throw tubes, I can drop shot with it, I can heavy Ned rig fish with it if I need to. Basically any odds and ends, I just need another rod on the deck or in the boat. That's where I go to.
Alright, here's going to be my last rod that I got here. This is a 7'6" Lew's David Fritz cranking stick. I use it to throw a bunch of my big cranks, big square bills, stuff like that. I got a Lew's MB 5,
5-3-1?
5-6 to 1. Yeah, come over here and tell them what happened today.
Alright. Well, me and old Ethan here, we was on Cumberland today. He put it on me, by the way. Big shout out to this stud, showing me how to fish.
No, he caught more than me.
Anyway, that Chronarch over there, I said it could outcast his Lew's and that big glass composite rod. Well, he throws his out, I throw mine out, I get a little bit further. I just burn my back end real quick, and he just reels that.
You can't really burn this.
Yeah, he couldn't really get in too fast, but he's just cranking that 6XD along, and directly he hooks up with a toad, probably about 3.5. Those pictures are going to be coming out on Instagram. Make sure to check out mine, Austin Napier Bass Fishing, and Ethan Hayes 01. So they will be on Instagram. If y'all want to check them out, be sure to like them. And that was the deal. We tried finesse fishing. We thought it was going to be a finesse day. It turns out it wasn't, but we got on a little something and scraped up 4. So we was 1 shy, but we still had fun.
Oh, yeah.
And you have anything to add on nothing?
Nothing really, other than whenever you're out there fishing, don't do what we did. We hurt ourselves more than anything. We had some indications that it's going to be kind of a reaction type bite day. Had a couple bites on some reaction style baits and just was too stubborn to switch over and do the stuff that we knew we needed to do. We was throwing them Ned rigs, wanting to catch a smallie, but we had 3 or 4 bites on moving baits, so we should have known to be throwing this stuff all day. And if we did, we probably would have been able to catch a couple more. But that's the big thing for y'all that's tournament fishing or just going out there fun fishing like we were today. Don't get so stubborn while you're in the boat. Pick up the rods that maybe you're not as comfortable throwing. I hate throwing crankbaits and stuff like that. I'm a jig guy. But if you're stubborn like that, then you're going to be like me most days and not catch a bunch of fish. Catch 1 or 2 maybe. But if you're more versatile and maybe decide, hey, we got a couple bites, reaction baits, I'll try this big crankbait. Only reason I picked it up is because he did that stupid challenge with me, or else I would have never picked this crankbait up and caught them 2 largemouth. So keep an open mind and just have fun out there.
And I will elaborate on that. Pay attention to detail. If you catch a fish on a swim bait or get bit 2 or 3 times out of the day like we did today, don't do like I done. I broke off on this. This is my 7'6" medium light Dixie Custom with my Stratic, and I just got mad. I said, you know what? They're going to be on this Ned rig. I'm going to fish it till I catch one, and I never retied this. I really wish I did. I feel like we'd have caught a lot more. And I mean, I had 4 bites on that swim bait, and like he said, I mean, pay attention. Don't be afraid to throw something that you're not comfortable with, because if chances are, if it's going to be hitting a swim bait, it's going to be hitting a crankbait, or vice versa. Don't be afraid to branch out and try different things, because I'm looking for a glass composite rod, but I'm not sure which route to go. That and there handled it pretty well. I casted it a couple times, but like you said, pay attention. Don't be afraid to try different things. That's the main thing about tournament fishing. And I want Ethan here because he fished tournaments in high school, same as I. We was on the same team. Didn't actually fish together, but
Fishing against each other all the time.
yeah, we was competing head to head. But I'm glad he's my partner now, and hopefully we can get in some tournaments here pretty soon and see what we do as a team.
Yeah, we fish halfway decent
But
together.
we feel like we do pretty good together. If one's on, then the other changes. But thank y'all for watching us. Be sure to check out Kurt Singer Sunride Outfitters, Dog Patch Trading Post, Saddlebrook Outdoors, and the Tackle Spot. And as always, give God all the glory. Be safe, have fun, and have a good day. We're out.